It's that time again, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Greyhawk headquarters for another Painting Sacrosanct Super Show. This one, number 2. We're not going to waste a lot of time tonight. We're going to get right into it. As you see, I've already got some paint out here on the mat. We're going to get started. If you joined us in the last stream, you will know that we got Sister Margaret here to a good stopping point on the stream, and it was then that I mentioned that she had a couple more steps to go. Well, we're going to handle those 2 steps this evening. On it right now. And what we're doing, if you notice from earlier in the past week, we put a wash on Sister Margaret here and went in and we darkened the recesses of the model. Well, what we're doing now is we're going back in and we are picking up some of the highlights of the model. Basically the areas that were too darkened by the wash, we're going back in and we're cleaning up those areas. And when we get to that point, or get to a good point of where those areas have been cleaned up, we're going to put on a nice little matte varnish here to protect our work. Right there. Detail. Come back in. Well, I said, and all we're doing is we're just coming in here and we're touching up some of these areas. And we're leaving the darkened areas and the recesses of the model so that the shadows will appear on the model in the way that we were intending. You'll notice we're playing a little different in the background music tonight. If you like what you hear, just let me know. First one of the night. Kick it off. Evening King. Evening King Scott. How are you this fine evening? Good to have you in the chat, sir. Hopefully we will be getting joined a little later by a number of other individuals. And like I said, and if you missed last week's stream, I present to you Sister Superior Margaret of the Order of the Crimson Chalice. Specifically, she is Sister Celestant Superior. She was the name given to her by the Twitch chat here, oddly enough. So welcome aboard this evening. Alright. So the gray is touched up there. We're gonna take this red. We're gonna go back in and touch up her cloak. I'm going to thin this down a little so we can work with it. And we're going to come here. We're going to start touching up again. I said you'll notice that her cloak is it's kind of dark in some places, and that's on purpose. Like I said, that was because of the technique that we used previously. Oh, that's good to hear, sir. Definitely good to hear. Yep. Right touch right there. I'm gonna flip over to the back side. Do that. And like I said, all we're doing is basically the parts of the model that we want to keep the shade in. Keep that darkness inside of. We're not even going to try to touch that. Okay, so this should be drying within a couple of moments. And we're going to put her off to the side. We're going to take a dry brush here. We're going to kind of make some adjustments here. Clean this, go in, and it's almost like a reverse dry brush. And we're just tapping in the color that we just applied. It's almost like a reverse dry brush, almost like a stippling technique. I'll flip that over. Oh, nice. Starting to clean up very nicely. Alright, so it's now time for a technique that I've not shown on the channel here before. But we are literally going to apply this little varnish. Oh, it is. I say she was this particular model. This one is the culmination of about 2 hours of work on stream. I've got some other, you see that I have a couple of other models off to the side right here. We're going to work on those this evening. Alright, and we're going to come in here and we're going to pull a little of that matte varnish out. And fortunately with this does not have to really be thinned, as this will dry to a nice pretty clear color. And we're gonna just put this on the model, apply it pretty liberally. And like I said, this is literally just a clear coat varnish that once it's dried, it'll protect the color. But I see now that it's not quite dried, because I see some of it's bleeding. But I can make adjustments to that. That's not a problem. I can definitely work with that. Like I said, all we got to do, see, as I've said before, all we got to do with acrylic, one of the beautiful things about it is if we make them have mistakes show up, we can very, very easily go in there and correct those mistakes like we're about to do right here. So we're going to go into our gray, get a little on the brush, and we're going to clean up right there. Basically the areas where that red has bled over. There's a little touch up right there. And a little touch up right here. Alright, so we can tilt her off of the handle for now. We're going to step over to the next model in the set, who Twitch has not been so inclined yet as to give a name to. It's going to be kind of, I think it's going to be kind of a thing here, is we're going to be having Twitch name the ladies for us, or at least give suggestions of names. And as always, we're going to kind of get thin out this red, and this is Mephiston Red from Citadel that I'm working with here. We're going to start applying that to her robes here. We're going to carefully go around that little emblem that she's wearing. That's going to have a different color. I'm going to have to get a little bit closer to it here. Unfortunately, it's going to be a little hard to see it when I come in. I will definitely show you a close-up when I have finished this step. So the front half of her cloak here is, bottom half, more appropriately, is completed. I'm going to go back into our red, pick up a little more paint. We're going to work on this little hood, that she's wearing. And like I said, those of you that saw my last stream, you will know that the previous sister we worked on was wearing the helmet. This one's going to be going helmless tonight. Hey, good evening, Maggie. How are you? Good to see you, sir. Like I said, and get your thank you caps on tonight, fellas, because we're guys, I was just about to mention that. Yeah, I was just about to mention that. I said, be thinking of a name for our lovely sister here, and I'll tell you that most of their names tend to be Italian or Spanish in origin, as they are very heavily influenced by the Roman Catholic Church, at least in their appearance and in name. And it's pretty much what happens if you take the Catholic Church, the modern day Catholic Church, minus the obvious elephant in the room scandals, and you give it the old Crusades era English British knighthood feel, and you get the Sisters of Battle. Oh, is she though? Is that true, you say? Which, speaking of which, Sister Margaret is actually sitting right there. I don't know if you caught her or not, but she's sitting right here on the side of the mat, drying from the varnish. So we're gonna go in here. We're gonna clean, thin down. I'm gonna place one more layer on here. And what would that Quebec swear be, sir? If I'm going to give her the name, I need to at least know the reference. Ah. So she's more of a, she's an expression of, exasperation. Would you say that word? Ah, yeah. Yeah, that would be extremely, that would be considered extremely heretical, because if it's not a reference to the emperor, then, sir, then I need to call the Inquisition on you. Your heresy will be, very dutifully noted. Please report to your nearest inquisitor for re-education. See, the only... Man, this paint dries so fast. Of course, I don't want it to sit here and, and not dry, and... But point being is, like, it's so hard to work. It's so difficult to work with when it's drying out that quickly. And to be perfectly honest, it could be the temperature. I mean, it could be, or the temperature in the room this evening. It could be a lot of different things. But I have an answer for that. I was just hoping to not have to use it. Okay, we're gonna keep working here. Yikes, you say? Yikes, what's that's a reference to there? Oh, you, nothing major there, Maggie. Just saying that, references to the tabernacle are in fact heretical in the 40K universe because they're not a reference to the Emperor. And stand by, guys. I got to get one chemical for this paint real quick. Be right back. There we go. Let's put that down. And for those curious, that is the chemical that I just applied. It is literally it slows down the drying time of the paint, making it a little more, giving me a little more time to work with it. Yeah, maybe. And it kind of depends on who's saying it too, to be perfectly honest. It's really strange the way that they do it. I think a lot of it is Games Workshop hand waving, but it very much depends on who's saying it, whether they consider it to be heretical or not. Pretty much anything that doesn't allude to, the Emperor is, the Emperor is Lord and all will fall and worship him, is pretty much considered to be heretical. Good evening, Fanatic. Welcome aboard. I know you told me y'all had kind of a shit night this evening. So how was the recovery, or did the recovery ever happen? And what we're doing here is we're going through and putting really, we're making very, multiple very thin layers of the paint, basically so that each layer will adhere to the layer under it a little better. And so anytime that you cake it on, that's kind of the secret to working with acrylic, is that you don't cake it on very, very thick. You thin it down, and you make several passes of very, very very, very thin layers. Trying not to fall asleep. Mello, good evening. Evening, Mallow. How are we this evening? And to be perfectly honest, Fanatic, if you need to, if it was a rough night and you need to, need to call it a night, go for it. I mean, I appreciate, if you feel free to stay as late or as long as you like. Oh, it helps you sleep. I appreciate that, hon. I'm happy to be of service. Well, is it my painting, or is it this beautiful epic background music we got going here today? Between technical issues and not feeling well, you had to skip your own stream, but you're glad everything's behaving now, so you can be here. Well, I appreciate you stopping by. I honest to God do. And like I said, if I can be of assistance to improve your evening, I will be more than happy to do so. Oh, and interesting story. I'll go ahead and tell this while it's on my mind. Yeah, that's true. That's very true. And yes, I know that's a dangerous power, and I purposely try to use it for good, Fanatic. Some people would take that as an insult. I don't. Oh, and while I'm thinking about it, so for those of you that have been with me in the stream here, oh, but look, seriously, Fanatic, seriously, careful what you say. A closed invitation. It's a closed invitation. Got it. But anyway, as I was saying, so for those of you that have been with me in the stream here for the last couple of weeks, and for those that I am friends with outside of stream, you know that my employer has been giving me a bit of issue with giving me my my status as a full-time employee. Well, some developments are forthcoming in that area. The employer has a hotline number that can be utilized to report quote-unquote ethical issues. Well, I felt it was an ethical issue that I was offered the full-time status previous December. Well, here it is, going on March, and no one had heard anything about it. So I made a inquest to this ethics committee, if you will, and quite literally the following day I was called into the office and given an explanation as to why the request for full-time had not gone through. So that goes to show that the ethics committee will get things done. So, and also that being said, as soon as this little snafu works itself out, we will be going to a regular streaming schedule here at Hawk headquarters, and that will typically be Tuesday nights for the foreseeable future. Sorry guys, had to get a stretch in there. Ooh, that was a good one. That was a good deep one. Which, that being said, for the Tuesday night, as I was saying about for Tuesday night, another thing too to be made aware of. I know if you guys are probably seeing it up there in the corner. There are two little advertisements that I have running up there. The one on the left that you see there is for Blue Ox Games. It's the local supplier that I use to acquire all of these bottles and this equipment. They are located in Greenville, North Carolina. They carry Warhammer, Pokemon, Magic the Gathering, D&D, all manner of things, geekery and nerdery. They are reachable at blueoxgames.com. Give them a call and tell them Greyhawk sent you. The other one there is Scion, The Sands of Time. That is a tabletop role-playing game that will be airing here on the channel coming up very soon. I'm going to be the Dungeon Master / Game Master / Storyteller for that game. There's a number of us are going to be sitting down at the virtual table via Roll20 to explore that story for you. If you're familiar with the Percy Jackson series, then you will definitely enjoy Scion. And like I said, that is slated to begin sometime later in the spring, early summer of this year. We are currently in somewhere around the middle of pre-production. First beat the devil of the night, right there. But we are currently in the middle, about midway's pre-production on getting all of that set up and ready to go. And you will be, like I said, you'll be hearing more about that very soon in the coming future on the Greyhawk channel here. I'm saying there's a number of the individuals that are in my chat right now that are going to be joining us for Scion. But for now, we will leave that as a teaser. You'll just have to tune in to find out more about that situation. And yes, the devil has been clinked. Going to be a lot of devil clinking this evening, as there's this particular Sacrosanct does have a slightly more detail on her than the one that we worked on in last stream does. Mainly because she has face parts that we're going to have to work on this evening. Like I said, and you will notice that she is her shield is currently not attached, whereas Sister Margaret's is. But you will notice that Sister Margaret's shield has this nice open ability right here to get in and around the shield. Our sister here does not have that. So in order to make it lessen the challenge, I have the shield unattached at the moment. We'll be attaching it later in the painting, later in the process, and probably going to be much later, as we're going to do all of the ladies without the shields first, and then we're going to be going back later and painting them separate and attaching them later in the project. I don't know, Maggie. That's a really good question. We need to come up with a name for her. Like I said, you came up with Margaret last week. And yes, in case you're curious, before the end of all this is done, every girl in this, or every lady in this unit is going to be individually named. Let me check over on my chat real quick. Alright, so let's see if we start looking, make sure we're not missing any fine minor details here. Oh, there's one right there we need to get. I would like to if someone else has an idea. And also, in case you're curious, there is a little bit of custom lore the the order here that you're seeing me paint. This is the Order of the Crimson Chalice, or excuse me, the Order of the Sanguine Chalice. They are a sisters order that has been not necessarily raised, but more of detached, so to speak, to assist the Order of the Rising Sun's Blood Angel Space Marine chapter. My custom Blood Angels chapter. Not necessarily traditionally Catholic. I'm just saying the reason I'm saying this is because it tends to be that the names tend to have somewhat of an Italian or Spanish sound to them. But we could, if something else comes along that we like, we can definitely break the mold. Alright, so we're going to reach over here and grab... Is that our Morghast or our Wraithbone? Okay, that's Morghast. Stand by, ladies and gentlemen, as I need to acquire a paint that I thought I already had on the table. Let's see if I can put my hands on that. There we go. Good old Wraithbone from Citadel. I know it might be tough to see, but there you go. Wraithbone from Citadel. I'm going to get that. I love that sound. Love that nice surrounding. Yep. Good old plastic paint pots. So I'm not as big a fan of this style of top. As you see, this little piece right here is very, very thin plastic. It'll break at nothing. At one time, the company made screw tops, and I really, really like them better. They keep the paint more fresher, and the paint will last a lot longer before it starts drying out with the screw tops. Can't use Catherine, bud. Just remember, because St. Catherine is an actual established, she's a previously established character in the Sisters canon. To the point of actually, she is considered to be a venerated saint in with the Sisters. And any reference to being called her could be seen heretical. And also, if it helps with your thought process, the point of this order, they are a bodyguard, or the point of this particular unit that we're working on here this evening. They are a bodyguard unit for Sister Morven Val. And I will show that model a little later. I've not had a chance to, I just haven't took the time, because she's an extremely challenging model, or she's going to be an extremely challenging model to finish. But I'll show her a little later on. But the point of the Sacrosanct here is they are in this order, they are a bodyguard unit that is assigned to her protection, well, more like an honor guard of sorts. But the actual in-game rules allow them to bodyguard pretty much any character within a certain bubble on the table. I want to say it's 6 inches. I'd have to double check, but it basically means if these ladies are closer to a source, that source cannot target Morven Val or whatever character that they are choosing to bodyguard with any type of ranged attack. You have to get these girls out of the way first, and they're really tough to shift them. I mean, it's a 2-up armor save, which is, again, for those not familiar with the game, that's a 2 or better on a 6-sided die, and if you make that, they completely ignore any damage that comes in that would take wounds, hit points, if you're familiar with that, off of them. Okay, let me catch up on the chat. First time you've heard of Sister Catherine? Yeah, I'll have to find that in the lore and rig that out for you guys. When Mallow, when you were younger, Sunday school had a nun come and try to convince us to become nuns, and little 5th grade Mallow asked her very innocently if you could go back and do it again, would you, without missing a beat? She says, no, don't do it. Her name was Sister Claire Marie. Huh. First one that came to mind. Good catch. Huh. Sister Claire Marie. That's a unique one too. I hadn't thought about that. Yeah, that's unique. That might stick. Just remember, you're gonna have to do that for those names. So we're gonna move Sister Margaret out of the way. So we're gonna show all of these models right here. That's roughly about 30 or about 20 girls here that we're gonna need names for all of that. Not tonight, obviously, but in the near future. Oh yeah, like I said, keep thinking, because I said we're gonna need it. Maybe we'll have an honest sister work for the emperor. Just because he's a dishonest scumbag doesn't mean his employees are. You take that back, sir, right now. You take that back. Your heresy has been duly noted. Please report to the nearest inquisitor for re-education. But in all honesty, if all honesty, when we look at that story, it's not the emperor himself. Was not a bad guy. He was just one of those. He was a good guy that basically had a situation turn against him. And actually, to be 100% honest, when you go back and you look at the details of the story, what it really is the Horus Heresy is really a retelling of the War in Heaven. And if you're familiar with that story. Okay, so we're gonna keep working on her. I'm gonna flip her around here. Take a look at her at the rear part of the armor. See, all right, there's a little bit more we need to do. Tap that order right there. Get us thin us down. It might be a little too thin. And in comparison, we could almost compare the Imperium of Man almost to the Cam from Masquerade, in that they're very strict, very ordered, very structured. The Sabbat, or the Chaos, is almost the Sabbat. And we don't particularly have an independent. Well, no, actually, I'll take that back. They're more. The Chaos is more of the Anarchs of Masquerade. We don't particularly have a Sabbat, though the Imperium does use particularly Sabbat-like religious mentality. but we don't particularly have one. Chaos is more like the anarchs of 40k. And as we continue to work here on our picking out some of these details, I'm gonna flip around and take a look, see where we need to go next with our applications. Okay, we're gonna touch that right there. We're gonna touch that up. Look, I'll tell you that I'll make a deal with you, Mallow. If we don't have another name by the conclusion of this stream, we have Sister Claire Marie right here. And take a look. See, she should be. This is Sister Margaret that I'm looking over here. That I see is going to need a little bit of touch up. All that is just some paint that bled over. It's not a problem. Tap that. Clean that up. Okay, and I think Sister Margaret, who is the Sister Superior of this unit, actually. Alright, can do. That's fairly accurate, although I would kick Logger to the moon and shoot Erebus about 70. Great. Yep. Let's face it, the only really good guy in 40k is a toss-up, to me, is a toss-up between Sanguinius and Russ. Because Guilliman can suck a dick. I'm sorry, he can. And Caiaphas Cain is just, since he got mentioned earlier, Caiaphas is just one of those situations where he's just, the coward that got caught on the hero's journey. That's literally his issue. I don't really know a lot about the Sally's King to really have a call on that. Damn fly, go away. So, we're gonna grab some of the sterling silver right here, and what we'll do is we're gonna start working on the blade part of her halberd. Hey, do what you do, Manji. Alright, start tapping that out. And I would say if you want to know more about the 40k lore, there's plenty of information available on it on the internet, but just I warn you about going that route because there's a lot of the information is contained somewhere in the neighborhood of a little over 200 different novels that are all canon to the story. And I'm sorry, but nobody's got time to be reading that many books. And when I say novels, I mean we're talking, multiple hundreds of pages thick. Just the Horus Heresy alone is part of the story is somewhere in the neighborhood of about 40 different novels. But there's plenty of wikis out there that cover the story relatively accurately. So if you're into that, or if you want to take a look at that, just independent research it. Okay, so I think we got her to it. No, we don't either. I stand corrected. We need to go in here and start touching up her Inquisition symbol there. Start working on that. Speaking of Inquisition, the sisters, for those who are not familiar, are technically considered a wing of the Inquisition, along with the Grey Knights. The Grey Knights are more of the Order of Hereticus. Basically, they snuff out both the well, they're really a little bit of both. They are more Ordo Hereticus and Ordo Psychers, and basically they seek out the Psychers in the 40k universe that seek to use their powers against the Imperium, whereas the sisters, though they do occasionally deal with unsanctioned Psychers, they're more of a I find that they're more effective at dealing with heresy. Yeah, Caiaphas is you know, he's the to me he's the George Carlin of 40k. And I say that because he's more of that, you know, he's the I'm done with this shit character. But it comes off as as comedy. So. Yes, he is. Absolutely lucky. Alright, so... Alright, we need to get our leather color here real quick. So we're going to switch over to Triad Bark. And yes, it does take this many different colors to get a model up to snuff. It takes this many colors, this many steps, this long. So for you 40k guys out there, when your gaming group keeps giving you shit because you have unpainted models, feel free to tell them to fuck right the hell off, because there's this thing called real life that takes precedence. And what I'm doing right here is she has a belt that goes around her waist. I'm picking out the I'm going in here and picking out the details of that belt. Well, here's the thing with that, Magi. The Emperor is said to be the strongest Psyker, but we also have to consider the fact that that's being said by the Imperium, and is likely a lot of that is Imperial propaganda. Because if we want to be 100% accurate, the most powerful Psychers in 40k are probably the Orcs. The issue is they're just too dumb to realize it. So to answer the question, if enough Orcs got together and started believing that the Emperor had never died, would he wake up? The answer is, yeah, he most likely probably would. But the number one weakness of the Orcs is their own stupidity and lack of union. It is terrifying. It is absolutely terrifying, but it's 100% true. Look, I mean, we're talking about a race that the lore has been changed now, but I still go by this. There is it's been a running gag in the 40k universe that the reason why orc guns even work is because they think they work. And a lot of that's true, King. Because the orcs, the 40k orcs, and to a degree the Sigmar orcs as well, are very, very heavily based on British soccer hooligans. Okay. So we got some color on her face there. And to be honest, we could call this one, if we really wanted to, we could call this one done, and she could go to the table. But that's not me, guys. I've got others. I got some more some more steps in mind for Sister Marie here. So we're gonna let her put her off to the side, and we're gonna let her stew, let her dry. We're gonna move on to another model as soon as we could find one that's prepped, maybe. Ah, here we go. Here's one. It's already got the. You know what? No. Let's move this. Let's go here. Let's go to this one. This one's gonna be a little more fun to paint. Most of her detail is nice and open and visible. Okay. Although she is part of a different squad, but since when have we let rules get in the way of a good time? Take a little retarder in there. Clean that up. Take that out. So, and actually, since I mentioned that, I actually saw something on the 40K, I think it was their Facebook, a while back, that someone brought up the concept of if enough orcs got together and they and had enough, because we know they're psychic, could enough orcs close the rifts in the warp that are created by chaos demons, and therefore, save the 40K universe from the concept of a chaos demon? And as terrifying as it is to think, they could. They absolutely could do it. And also, if, by the way, absolutely. And, by the way, Mallow, King, if either one of you, Mallow, if you're back in the chat, or King, if you can let her know, after we close stream this evening, if Mallow is available, we can take a look at her, get her started on Scion character, as I do not have to be at my job until late tomorrow, so I've got a few hours after the fact. And also, it just came to my attention that I believe I'm gonna have to double check, but I believe we have reached a milestone this evening at Greyhawk headquarters. I believe we have managed to have 5 people in the chat this evening, and for those of you not familiar, that is one of the first goals that we need here at headquarters to begin our quest for Twitch affiliates. Basically meaning I can get paid to do this shit. Not much, but I can get paid to do this shit. And we're gonna, and if we can hit affiliate, all we're gonna do is we're gonna put the profits from affiliate is gonna go right back into the channel. It's gonna. Okay. Well, if things start to work out, Mallow, just let me know. Because fortunately, it's a I know, because you've made characters for the previous edition. Fortunately, and both King and Maggie can verify on this, second edition has made the process a lot faster. To where the point is, once you get the hang of how to do it, you can build a character in 10 minutes. If that, it'll take you longer to make the choices than it will to write them down on the sheet. And also, I don't know if you guys saw or not, but Roll20 came through for us at a better time, because I saw today that they have officially released the Scion 2nd Edition package, the character sheet package for Roll20. So that being said, I'm gonna be for those of you guys, if you hadn't already sent it to me, I'm gonna need the whatever email that you want to use for Roll20. I'll need you to send that to me so I can add you to the game and open up a character sheet for you. Alright, so she's being a little more challenging than I thought she was gonna be. Hey, nice. I do like that lit keyboard that you use though. Like I said, I'm really don't like that. I really don't like that rubber pad thing that you have on it, but otherwise I really like your keyboard. Alright, fair enough. Say it's my sheet's about half finished anyway, so it won't take long. It shouldn't. It's a matter of life and illness, deciding to go fuck someone else's ass for a while. Nice. Just remember, none of us are virgins. Life fucks us all. And that's a quote from not Dave Grohl, Kurt Cobain, actually. Yeah, it's built into the PC, you said. Well, if you type that loud, quit putting so much force on the keys. Or just, just be old school and get a typewriter. And no, I am not insulting typewriters. Typewriters are awesome. So we're looking to see if there's anywhere else that we need to apply this, apply the Mephiston Red to. I see a few places that could test you some. You could use it on. Double clinking. And when you build that PC, Fanatic, let me know, because I'll be more than happy to help you get it going. See, if I'm not mistaken, Mellow has one too. Our water looks like fruit punch because it has red paint in it. You'll notice that you will notice that there's two water glasses here tonight. There's a reason for that. Gotta go back to that brush. Let's say, Maggie actually has an antique typewriter. Bought years ago for $200. Bought a ribbon. Lost it during the. I'm sorry. Been one want to either get it workable or turn into a keyboard, but who has time? That's very, very true. Well, see, the problem with turning it into a keyboard though is it's going to take a lot of I don't know, to be perfectly honest, if you'd want to put that much money into it, but what you would have to do is you'd have to find a electronics expert to go in and wire the relays so that you could use it as a keyboard, because if you take if and I'm sure Mallow's probably told you this too, but if you take the physical keys off of a computer keyboard, you'll notice that there's little rubber pieces under those keys. Now each one of those keys, those little rubber pieces, is tied to an alphanumeric character that is goes into the computer. So what you would have to do is you would have to have someone install those same rubber pieces and basically tie them so that you could use it for that. Now don't get me wrong, it would be an excellent idea, it would be really cool, but it would be really expensive and really time consuming. And like I said, that's something else we can look at here on the stream too, if in the future, if we want to. PC builds is actually, I do some PC work, but unfortunately the only hard desktop PC I have is the one I'm streaming from at the current moment. So it's a little hard to stream from a PC when you got the thing open, basically doing surgery on it. Send that down. It's not worth the money or the effort, yeah, and you're not willing to do that much micro soldering, and no one else would be either, I don't believe. To do that level of detailed soldering we're talking, even for someone that had plenty of time, and for a professional, we're talking, days of work here. That's a major project. And again, don't get me wrong, if you've got Bill Gates money, it would be a cool project, but again, you need Bill Gates money, and none of us have that. Yeah, Valid King, how are things going over you guys' way? I know that not gonna get into it here publicly, but I know you guys had a few things that you were trying to work out. Well, dude, like I said before, man, sometimes you have to, Maggie. And you know us, dude. Look, y'all know us. If you need anything we can help with, ask, and we'll do everything we can. I know, Mallow. I know you. I know I told you that, in private, but it still stands. Anything you guys, any way I can help, I'll be more than happy to. Alright, so we're going to go to our silver, and we're going to get a little more of this sister. Her Inquisition symbol is on the back of her outfit here. So we're going to pick that out real quick. Anybody got a count on the devil clinks? I think this is like 5 for the night. And again, I'll explain for those that are curious about that. Clinking the devil out of it is a reference to the legendary to Master Bob Ross, where he would when he cleaned his brushes, he would beat the brush on the side of his palette, and he referred to that as, quote, beating the devil out of it. I don't have a palette that I can beat it on the side of, but I have a glass that I can clink against. So thus was born, courtesy of Violin Fanatic, thus was born the clink the devil out of it meme. And we have, apparently, between she and I, we come to the conclusion that once I can hit affiliate, that the one of our emotes is going to be a clinking glass container, and I don't know how we're going to do that, but we'll burn that bridge when we get to it. I may have to look into oh, you've already got merch. We've known this. You got merch coming. Honestly, to be perfectly honest here, I can do merch now. I can go ahead and set up a merch store now. It's just there's no need because I don't have anything, I don't have the logo set up yet for the channel, and to be perfectly honest, I was thinking about it today. The same lady who is doing basically our art director for Scion, it might not be a bad idea to get up with Headset and see how much she would charge to work on a logo for the channel here at Greyhawk. Might have to talk to her about that later. Let's say, Mallow, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't Headset do some of the art for your channel as well? Oh, definitely the character. Definitely the character. And I'm glad you mentioned that, because actually that's the origin of the Greyhawk name. It is a play on two different things. The LARP that I used to play that unfortunately no longer is it's no longer open within reasonable distance of me, had a race in it that basically were kinkus, and the that particular bird race could be any particular bird, and I happened to choose a raven because we already had in the roost, and that's actually, yes, that was what we called the stable. We already had we had an eagle, a red-tailed hawk, and a peregrine falcon already in the roost, and so I chose to be a raven kinku. And knowing what I know about D&D, I chose the name Greyhawk because it is the obvious play on the city of Greyhawk in Dungeons and Dragons. Oh yeah, it's been a while back. I know, Mala. It's been a hot minute when she did it. And speaking of which, for those that are curious, the Scion logo that you're seeing up here in the corner right there was also Headset's work right here, as is the a good portion of the character portraits that you're going to be seeing later this year. But yeah, I'll have to get up with her there, and I swear she really needs to She really needs to evaluate her pricing because she's really not charging enough for her work. I'm saying it's the reason why I've offered her, a larger sum or a larger payment to do this logo, to do that sign logo. Absolutely, she is. Well, here's the thing. Soon as she gets that tablet, let her know. Because she really, I agree, she is absolutely underselling herself. Okay, it's not my mood. Normally, I'm listening extremely cathartic. The folk music, yeah. It's depressing. Huh. Well, don't listen to folk music then. Or, maybe you're stuck listening to folk music. Either way, it's, if it's not good for you, just get out of change the situation if you can. Just remember, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing twice and expecting a different result. Looking at you, politics, but we're not going to discuss that on my channel. You're half tempted to buy her a tablet and tell her to charge more for work, but her brother would steal it and break it. Don't be doing that. Let's don't do that. But yeah, she is absolutely underselling herself. Yeah, Maggie, it just it's the discussion of politics, and like I said, and this is all I'm gonna leave it at. It opens up way too many cans of worms that are not worth opening because we all know where it's gonna lead, and B, even if it was worth opening, the concept of civil discourse is like it's pretty much like speaking Aramaic on the internet these days. And yes, I know, fanatic, before you say it, yes, I know you speak dead languages, I know, but point being, yeah, no roundtable discussion about that here, and we'll do that off stream sometime. If you feel the need, just we will, but like I said, it just ends badly. Like I said, we'll discuss 40K politics, and we can discuss it in the context of what we're presenting on the channel. But I'm not gonna have an open. It's not gonna be an open table, open floor kind of thing. Let's just start that. No, King. No. There will be no lamb sacrifice via Twitch this evening. That's a good way to get kicked off Twitch. And this also doesn't bode well when the self-professed pagan is allowing animal sacrifice on their channel. It just doesn't end well. Way to enforce the stereotype, buddy. So we're gonna start. Let's paint our base here real quick. Very nice. Really like this really nice chocolate brown here that we're putting down. Like I said, this is the same brown that I use for the leather on the model here. And also, Fanatic, speaking of fruit punch, stand by. I'm gonna hydrate. What do we got in here tonight? Water and water. I know. Look, we have water. 2 or 3 beers and water. Rum and the fruit punch. Okay, you have fun with that, sir. The closest I get is orange juice and water first and then beer. Yeah. The closest I get to rum and the fruit punch is Captain Morgan's orange creamsicle. What beer is it? I've got in there, I've got Red's Apple, Guinness, and Michelob. And yes, I drank all 3 for different occasions, and this one I'm looking for a change in taste. Back to that. We're going to take a dry brush right here, and we're going to go back over the wet part of this. We're going to basically, the point of this is I'm trying to make this trying to make the acrylic go a little further. And I see there's a bit of this red on her cloak that we're going to need to touch up that red. Pull that out, get a little bit of that, a little chemical. We're gonna start another layer of red on her cloak. Reds is more of a cider, to be perfectly honest. It almost drinks like a cider too. But they also make a blueberry ale now that I adore it. And I'm and to be perfectly honest, I'm a little surprised that I'm able to find reds in the South being what it is. I'm a little surprised that it's not that it's as well known as it is. There tends to be a bit of a stigma around that type of alcohol down here. Oh, and I wasn't saying that you were, King. It's just and I'm agreeing. It is more of an ale. Why the discrimination against ale? It's dumb redneck shit, to be perfectly honest. It's there's a stigma around here is basically that it needs a certain alcohol content in it before they consider it to be actual, an actual alcoholic beverage. But again, it's a lot of it is that southern redneck bravado. But this is also the same culture that drinks alcohol for the sole purpose of getting, drunk and starting fights, not for the purpose of, enjoying it as, a social excursion. So she's drying. Absolutely. That's absolutely a lot of it, King, is a lot of what he's saying is right. They get drunk for the soul just to get loud and just to be just to make just to make fuss. All right, we'll go back to our grade momentarily. See some cleanup I need. Start this cleanup. For those curious what I'm sipping on tonight, this is a nice kiwi strawberry flavor in the water here. Oops. Well, fuck. So we made a mistake there. Let's all laugh at Greyhawk while he corrects this mistake. Okay. So... Clean our brush. Where did I put Sister Margaret at? There's two different, this is two different ones here. Did I put her off to the side? Where'd you go, sister? Where'd you go, Miss Margaret? So we have a model ran away on us. She ran off to join the Emperor. Oh, there she is. Okay. So, what was the, was that just a bot there, Maggie? I didn't even get a chance to see it before you called it. Oh, I appreciate it. Good job, guys. I appreciate it. You did a band, and you did a good band. I appreciate it. Alright, so we've managed to accomplish this evening. We've got two more models finished in the squad. So we're gonna paint. Go ahead and get this base rim painted. And some of you may ask why even paint the rim of the base. Well, there's a couple of different reasons for that. One of them being so that I can put the name on here, so that the color will adhere to the whatever color I use to do the name in. Probably going to be white, so that it will adhere to the base a little better. and two, it's common in 40K that all of the models of one unit will share the same color of the base rim. In this particular case, this one is going to be this unit is going to have this nice chocolate brown color for its base rim. Okay, did we do that one? You know, I think we did that one. Okay. Clean the brush. Oh, guys, I just remembered this. I just thought about it. So, remember I had said a little earlier, a couple weeks ago in the chat, that I was going to be starting the Lumineth Elves for Age of Sigmar. Well, you'll be interested to know that I pulled the trigger on that today. I have basically have a starter set of that army in the post. Soon as that gets here, we're going to add that to the backlog of the already impressively massively large. I don't need to be buying more stuff backlog, but there it is. And plus the local club, we don't have anyone playing that particular army, so it's just, it's something else we can add to the field, and we can, just for sake of competition. Alright guys, I'm going to step off for a moment. We're going to get our glue brushes. Alright, and we're going to start seeing if we can get some basing and some, is that word again? Some flock. What the flock? We're going to put on some flock. Some flock and flock. Such a fucking fun word to say, it really is. Okay. And how we're going to do this is we're going to take a little bit of tacky glue, and we're going to start applying this to the model here. So we're going to take a little water and water it down. We're going to turn this into into almost like a PVA Elmer's type glue. And we're going to start putting down the, say it with me, the flock. I'm going to take a little water, clean that up. And like I said, in the brush that you see me working with here, this is not a normal, this isn't a normal paintbrush. This brush has a rubberized tip on it, where a normal brush would have the those nice camel or a nice camel or sable hair bristle. This is just literally just a rubber tip. Yeah, Nagash is one of the Nagash is the army of the dead leader, and while he's impressive, God, he's expensive on the table. He's about Games Workshop won't let me say exactly what the word is, but he is averaging around 700 to 800 points by himself, and when you're playing games in the 12 to 1500 point range, that's a lot to invest in one model. And not only is he's really expensive points wise, he's also god awful expensive money wise. And if you've seen the model, that is a massive painting undertaking. It's, you guys have seen how long it takes just to get one single one of these models done here. I mean, we're 2 hours plus on just this model. Nagash we're talking about weeks on getting that guy done. And even it's to the point now that all of the Sigmar armies have some type of large monster model like that, including Lumineth. Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna do Emerald. I'm on the fence. I was looking at their rulebook. I've been looking at their rulebook off and on as I have time. I'm on the fence about what I'm gonna do for Lumineth. I do know that they have cav units as a basic troop option, which I really like. Yeah, night haunts are cool. I've not had a chance to really play against them. The only other gentleman at the club that runs Night Haunt, we don't get to really see him very often. What we're seeing a lot at our club is we're seeing a lot of Bone Reapers. We're seeing I'm one of 3 Orc players for Sigmar. And we do have 1 or 2. We've got a Giants player, because fuck you, GW, fuck you and your Giants. That army is fucking incredible. Not as much as it used to be, because it got nerfed really hard. But when that army first came out, it was quite literally was unstoppable. It's I played against the guy who was playing them, the guy at the club that plays them, that has a army of them. I played against him with my a Stormcast Eternals list that he owns, and over the course of one of the game, I was only able to kill like 1 giant out of 5 that he had over the course of about a 2-hour game, and he took out somewhere in the neighborhood of about 23 models to my taking out 1 of his. And it's solely because of the fact that they're just, at that time, they were just, they were god tier army. And while they're still very, very strong, GW has done a lot to rein that in. Don't get me wrong, I still would love to have one for, as an ally for my crew, for my orcs. Because, I can do that. But I'm going to be the first to admit that they're really powerful, almost to the point of being broken. All right, so guys, we're gonna put this out one last time. I know we had been thinking about a name for the our lovely sister here, and last I saw, we had determined the name of Claire Marie, if I'm not mistaken. And we're going to wait a few minutes, see if anyone else has any other offers on the table for names. If not, then I do believe we're going to have Sister Claire Marie joining the Order of the Sacrosanct. But before we do, let's do this real quick. I do need to make one thing I need to do with this base is we're going to put that mark right there. And what I did right there is I put a little white mark on her base, so basically that is for game purposes. They're not quite Jotnir. If you want to look it up on the website, go to the Games Workshop, the Age of Sigmar website, and look up Sons of Bahamut is what the Sigmar lore changed them to. So are we, I think, I like Sister Claire Marie, to be perfectly honest. It's got it has a ring to it. Kind of want to give everyone a fair shake at it though. Oh yeah, they're great. They're beautiful models. Don't get me wrong. The models are gorgeous. And we're talking about as far as like physical height. It's like the models themselves, like the biggest one is taller than this glue bottle is. And there's two of them. They're referred to as gargants now. The mega gargant, it literally stands probably about, like I said, this is, actually I'll get the measurement out so we can take a look at it. So this bottle is better than 6 inches tall, and we're talking about the mega gargant is probably about a 10-inch tall model, when everything else in Sigmar is like this scale, and this is all like 28 to 32 millimeters tall. And like I said, the models, they're beautiful, gorgeous models. I just, I both love and hate having to face against them, because they're a really big challenge to take them down. And part of the reason why I enjoy facing them is because they are a really big challenge. And also, guys, I'm going to show you guys a little later in the stream to see, basically before we wrap up for the night, the 3D print project that I've been talking about for the last month, seems like, is actually is sitting right here on the table for me too. I'm going to show those guys off a little later. But for now, I think we can go ahead and we can give our sister her birth certificate here. So we're going to go Claire Marie for this sister. And yes, I know I'm probably going to misspell this, but I'm mainly doing it on purpose to make it a little more 40K-ish, a little more grimdark, as they say. Yeah, I got that started that a little too close to the edge right there, but as soon as this camera decides to focus, so actually let's do this and see if we can force this to focus. We'll turn that off. Yeah, once it dries, it'll be a little easier to see, but ladies and gentlemen, the sister Claire Marie, courtesy of Malacat Meow. So we're going to put her off to the side where she has been completed. And we're going to let her sit her on the drying table. So we got another name we got to come up with tonight, chat. We got two sisters we've done this evening. Or we could use, the name that I developed. Although I was trying to save that for, I was really wanting to save that name for for a Canoness, which those of you that are not familiar, the Canoness is basically the captain of this order. And I had developed the name of Canoness Raffaella. But if we have nothing else, we can use that name, and I'll develop something else. So while Sister Marie is drying, we will. Oh, she can definitely carry a cannon. She can definitely carry a cannon, because we got to think. Well, here's the thing. Let's think about something. A Warhammer 40k, a bolt gun, is essentially a 54 to 50, somewhere around a 54 millimeter gyro jet propulsion cannon gun. So the bolter itself, which is basically the basic weapon of the Space Marines, is a gyrojet cannon, but you don't really see that very often, because there's other stuff in the lore that is, twice the power of that. So I need Soy Mage in here to give us a little more insight on that, to be honest. Soy Mage being one of the followers, one of my off-stream friends. Almost a brother I never had, who knows the lore pretty much, like the back of his hand, way better than I do. So I've had a... Right there. It's almost midnight, guys. I just realized that. Or I could have any one of the those guys join in, actually. Now that I'm thinking about it. Alright, guys, sorry about that. I was slightly distracted. Well, it's not really so much that it's nerfed as much as it is that there's weaponry in the game, weaponry in the canon that is just stronger than that. I get the joke, Maggie, but it's it's a little it's a 2 on the nose, and it's not quite grimdark enough. I said now my orcs, when I get around to painting the orcs on stream, yeah, we can have fun with them. We can have we can we can fuck them all up. No, correct, absolutely correct, King. This isn't Bretonia, or the Empire, either one. But thank you for making the Bretonia reference. And Maggie, if you're not familiar with that, Bretonia, which is an army that both does and does not exist in the lore anymore. They are essentially Arthurian knights in the Warhammer universe. They're still technically a rulebook for them, but the rulebook was made. It's an update to the Age of Sigmar rules from a previous edition of the game that's not really competitive anymore, and thus no one's playing them right now. Plus, they don't. Games Workshop doesn't support the model line anymore, so it's nigh impossible to acquire the models unless you're getting them secondhand. And even when you get them secondhand, they're majority of them are pewter, and it takes a different kind of modeling skill set to be able to work with pewter. And a large majority of the modern modelers, or people who are just getting into the hobby, a large majority of them don't have the necessary skill set to work with pewter, because it requires a completely different kind of tools. It requires a different kind of patience to work with. Doing conversions on it is really challenging unless you're practiced at it. And if you don't have a mentor or someone that can show and guide you in how to do those conversions, it's challenging. It's daunting, and most of the time those conversions just don't work. Which actually, around here somewhere, I actually have some Bretonnia models. I'd have to see if I can put my hands on them. But we can take a look at them in the future if that would be something that you think you'd be interested in having me show on here. I do have a number of them, a very, very small collection of knights for Bretonnia that were in plastic at the time. And like I said, when I can find them, I'll be more than willing to show those on stream. Clean that away. Okay. It'd be interesting in some of the older pewter models. Actually, I can show you some of them actually, because some of the sister models I have are the ones that are the ones in pewter. Though it's gonna be harder to tell because I have them painted, but you will be able to tell the difference because the sculpt was different and the quality was a lot different. So if you'll stand by for just a moment, I can grab some of those pewter ones and let you see the difference in them. And I will actually go ahead and pull out Morven Val too, so we can take a look at her, as I mentioned earlier. Alright, so go ahead and set her out. So what the model that we're looking at right now, this is a pewter Sisters Canoness. Yes, Zoe, you were paged. We were discussing some canon here that thought that you would have some insight into. Maggie here is not quite as familiar with the he's vaguely familiar with the Imperium, but I figure you know the lore a little better than I do. So any questions that he would have, but what we're showing here tonight, what I'm showing Zoe, is this is the one of the original pewter sisters Canoness models. As you see, this model is kind of stumpy, and it's a sort of a more simplistic pose. And this is a circa, I'm going to estimate this to be a circa about 1996, 98-ish era model. And she is, compared to the plastic ones, she has a little more weight to her. And personally, to me, she's a little more sturdy in pewter than the plastic models are, and that's why I prefer the pewter models. Though now when you get pewter, it is considerably more expensive. 01 to 03, that late, really? Wow. I would have thought they'd be a lot. Thinking they're a lot earlier than that. But anyway, like I said, this is Maggie had requested to see them, so like I said, this is one of the pewter ones. And let me grab what that got replaced with in plastic. See if I can put my hands on her. Okay. Alrighty. Oh, here we go. Here's one. Here's a pewter one that hadn't been painted yet, so we can be a little more see a little bit more difference in it. Okay. So as I said, this one is one that I've just done basically the white. This is just the white base coat that was basically over the pewter, and as you can see, this is a more simplistic pose. Now we take this and we look at the detail that's involved in this model. And then we'll take, Sister Margaret from the other day, and we will put them beside each other, and you can see the major difference between the sculpts and even the size of the model itself. Yep. And you see the difference in the size of the sculpt, and you can see the difference in the detail. But yeah, so Sisters didn't get an army until Witch Hunters. I knew they didn't get it. They were Witch Hunters Codex. But yeah, we were where Maggie was curious about the I mentioned basically the caliber size of a bolter, and the when you consider the fact that there's things in the universe that are much stronger than a standard marine bolter. And I figured you have more insight on that than I do. Also, if I'm being honest here, this is just a shameless way to get more chatters in the chat because Twitch likes that. Okay, so I stand corrected. I had said they were roughly 55 cal. Okay. Roughly 75 caliber gyrojet bullet is roughly what a bolter shell is. And since I mentioned it, Morven Val, who is she is basically the head honchoist of the Sisters of Battle, and this is the first time that she has ever had a model. And to be honest, it's the first time that I'm aware of that she has ever existed, even in the canon. And as I was saying, you can see the amount of detail that is in this model. All of this I'm going to have to prime and paint. Like I said, and she is a centerpiece model, but she also is basically a goddess on the table. And she is the one that I have the Sacrosancts down here. Specifically, I purchased them and have them in the army list as bodyguards to hers. Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, Maggie. Yeah, every single little round of that chain gun. Which actually, what it is, Maggie, the chain gun that she has is what's considered a heavy bolter, which is basically a stepped up version of the standard bolt gun. But this is also the heavy bolter. This is also the same kind of weapon that you'll find on the sides of Space Marine army tanks. I can show you. I can show you the bolter though, if you'll stand by. Let me pull that out. I pull out a model that has one. And basically the gun that this model is rocking, and this is my model for a Sister Superior for one of the standard troop sister units that is in the army. The gun that she's rocking here, basically that she's one-handing, is the bolter. And basically what you saw on Morven is a stepped up version of basically this is a stepped up version of this. The gun that we're talking about, that's the 75 caliber gyrojet bullet, is this. So imagine if this is a 75 caliber, and you see the scale of this, imagine what the scale of that must be. In terms of another way we can look at it is in terms of game stats. It's a little hard to say. Probably, yeah. Yeah, the heavy bolter is basically it's almost like a machine gun version of the standard bolter. The bolt pistol that Soy is referring to right now, they all fire that 75 caliber round, but like I said, it's the difference in velocity. And if you want to look at it, if we look at it from sense of game terms, the strength of a weapon is rated on a typically a 1 to 10 scale, with a 10 being the strongest things you can find in the universe. The bolt gun, or most of the standard bolt gun and bolt pistol, are rated at 4. A heavy bolter is typically rated up to 5. And then basically if something gets rated at a strength of 10, it means it's literally, in that case, it's literally twice as powerful as a bolt gun. And there are guns, like I said, there are guns in the universe that are rated 10. There's close combat weapons that are rated at 10. As a matter of fact, the halberds, and just as an example, the bolt pistol is rated at a strength 4. The halberds that we see on the sisters here are basically end up being rated at a strength of 3. And the reason why is because the sisters themselves are rated at strength 3. This is what some weapons in the game let you basically attack at a higher strength rating. The halberds don't, but basically they have the ability to have a really, really impressive armor penetration rating. Yeah, pretty much. Chain gun, yes. That the heavy bolter pretty much is, it's a machine gun. Let's face it. Let's be honest. And this army also has a unit in it that literally carries that literally is a walking machine that a heretic of the Emperor is strapped into. And the machine literally has saw blades, spinning saw blades on the ends of the arms of the machine. It's called a penitent engine. And they are god terrifying to have to face it, to play against. I have two of them in my storage box over there. I'm in the process of acquiring a couple more, but I haven't done it yet because I'm still working out how the points are going to work on it. And we also, since we're on the subject of this, Soy, you would know this better. Yes, absolutely. That's valid, Soy. Good examples: Power Fist on a Corn Berserker. They punch harder than the pistols, and a Power Fist doubles the user's strength. So what that basically means is a Corn Berserker, if they're rated at Strength 5, and they're using the Power Fist that he refers to, it pushes them up to a Strength 10. Oh, no, Magic. You're fine. You're absolutely fine. You are absolutely fine. I mean, I have no problem with lore discussion, because I mean, this is a game that so much of the game is the lore, and it's like especially in recent editions, the lore really goes a long way toward defining how a model is going to perform in the game. It used to not necessarily be that way. Now it is. And I will say that, but Soy's probably going to bring this up. There's a big controversy going on right now in the community about Chaos Space Marines, and the fact that the non-Chaos Marines in the most recent rulebook, they basically went up to 2 wounds, which basically means they have 2 hit points, whereas the Chaos Marines did not get that jump. And there's a big controversy in the community right now, and almost to the point of people are boycotting the game, walking away from it, because Games Workshop refuses to give them that bump to their wound count. Now, personally, I don't think it's necessary. For sake of balance to the game, I think it's perfectly okay to leave them at 1 wound, because they've got a lot of other effects and benefits that they have that the Loyalist Marines don't. But again, that's more personal opinion. Case in point, like Soy's been playing Corn Berserkers lately. Corn Berserkers basically being the Chaos Marines that worship Chaos God Corn. And he has an ability with his Berserkers. He puts out, quite literally, if he sets it up right and the dice and the dice work with him, he has the ability to put out 3 times the amount of attacks in close combat that my Blood Angels, who were supposed to be close combat specialists, can do. Granted, because of the wound thing, it's harder for him to kill. It's harder for him to outright kill some of my units, but he also, because of the way he's set up, he throws more dice. And at the end of the day, 40k it's a dice and numbers game. But so he's correct, because he and I have we've had this discussion before, more than once we have, because we've sat down and we've mathed this out, math hammer as they call it. All right, so we've got some flock down on this sister, at least enough so that she's table ready. But hey, do what you do, bud. Do what you do. While you're out, let's be thinking about, like I said, another name for our sister here. And when you get back, we'll explain Death Company when you get back, because they're a really, really cool unit. They're a really, really tragic unit, but a really cool unit. But yeah, Matt, yeah, so as you know, as you can see in the title here, we're doing cleaning up some of the Sacrosancts tonight. And basically, I don't know if you had a chance to see, but earlier last week, chat basically helped me finish Sister Superior Margaret here, or Margaret, however we're gonna pronounce it. The name was there. The name was them, not me. So obviously it's my paint, but it's their name. And tonight already we have had an additional sisters join the squad. Sister Claire Marie. And yes, I have the shields off. You paint Zoe, you understand why I have the shields off. But while King is gone, let's have a little special bonus to the episode this evening. I promised, like I said, I've been promising in the last couple of months that we were going to be doing some 3D print work on some sisters. You are now looking at the end result of that 3D print. No, I was referring to when Maggie gets back. We'll go over Death Company. But yeah, this is literally the local public library. Well, not local public library because they don't have the same kind of printer. But one of my local public libraries printed this for me. This is, if I buy this from Games Workshop. And Maggie, I'm showing this specifically for you because you asked about this. If I buy this from Games Workshop, this is about a $65 model. This, through the local library, was less than $20. And as you see, there is a slight bit of damage to it right there. But it is better on the wallet for me to have spent the $20 and have this model that has this bit of damage to it than it is for me to spend 60 some bucks and get the same effect. And now, because I may want, if now, knowing that this has this bit of damage in it, and it was my fault, I missed when I was cleaning this up. I made a cutting mistake. But the thing with 40K is, there is no mistakes in 40K. They're happy accidents. We'll borrow Master Ross. But it is a whole lot easier on the wallet for me to take a hammer or something and beat this up for $20 than it would be to do the same thing with a model for $60. And Death Company, while we're thinking about it. Alright, the concept of Death Company is a Blood Angel specific unit. If you're familiar with the lore, then you are familiar with a cat named Sanguinius. Well, Sanguinius had this beautiful, perfect flyboy that he is. Like all of the Primarchs, he had a number of sons that were made in his image. That's where the Blood Angels come from. Well, almost all of the Marine chapters have some kind of flaw in their gene seed. Their gene seed basically being the DNA of sorts that is used to create Space Marines. The DNA of a Space Marine includes the DNA of the original progenitor of their chapters, who we call their Primarch. Well, the Primarch of the Blood Angels is Sanguinius. Well, Sanguinius, being the loyal son that he was to the Emperor, when Horus got the wild hair up his ass that he was going to betray the Emperor, it was Sanguinius that stepped in and saved the Emperor's life. And like I said, this is all covered in the Horus Heresy. Well, the flaw of the Blood Angels is that at some point in their life, I would say daily, they battle they battle a suicidal urge of sorts. And within this suicidal urge,
they see themselves as Sanguinius, and they see themselves fighting right before Sanguinius' death. Well, this causes, just like Soy's saying, this causes a PTSD trigger. Well, rather than the Blood Angels kind of shunning these guys away, they herd them into a unit by themselves known as the Death Company. And basically they save them basically for the suicide missions, and they basically, when they let them loose on the battlefield, just everything that they touch, they just murder every fucking thing they touch. And to the point, yeah, it is barbarian blood rage. And it's one of those situations where they're so hard to control, and they get so wrapped up in this suicidal rage that they basically have to keep them chained up in rhinos or in battle barges or whatever, and they let them loose on things that need to die, like not only need to die but need to die like bloody, painful, quick deaths. And there's a headquarters unit that is specifically intended to keep those guys under control, known as a chaplain. Now, other Space Marine chapters have chaplains, but the Blood Angels specifically use them as Death Company wranglers. And I say wranglers because I use that term literally. Without the presence of a chaplain, Death Company will go ape shit and kill everything, themselves included. The presence of a chaplain the chaplain kind of directs and controls where that rage is placed. And yeah, pretty much, yeah. And it's almost the same as and cool thing, the Space Wolves also have something similar to that called the Wolven. But their version of it is less psychotic suicidal charge, and more wilder, feral barbarian. Yes, absolutely, Asterath. Asterath is the head chaplain of and I have his model, by the way. Asterath the Grim is the head chaplain of the Blood Angels, and they call him in after the battlefield to track down any of the surviving Death Company and wrangle them back up together. Oh no, I agree. It absolutely is. And before you ask, yes, an army of Death Company and Wolven on the table allied together is terrifying. There is they haven't done it in recent years because the new rule book makes it very difficult to do it. But one of the lists that was winning tournament after tournament after tournament is a list known as Twilight Imperium, which was literally nothing but Space Wolf, Wolven, and Blood Angel Death Company allied on the table together. And it won something like 7 or 8 different official tournaments. And that's I feel like that's one of the reasons why you no longer can do that, because they had to go in and they saw how powerful that list was and how potentially game-breaking it was. They did, in an attempt to balance the game, they kind of made it not impossible, but extremely difficult to be able to ever do that again. Meanwhile, your Legion has a chapter who'll get a single marine. Yeah, yeah. You're referring to the Templars, Soy? Yeah, child. Which Black Templar is another Space Marine chapter. Really, really interesting chapter. They're probably the closest thing to medieval Crusader that Space Marines get. and to the point that they have no psychers in their army. Oh yeah, it is terrifying. And like I said, and it's funny he mentions Black Templars, because it has happened in lore before, more than once, where the Battle Sisters and the Black Templars have took the field of battle together. And it's of course it's not happens that Imperial units ally all the time, but there was in lore, and Soy, if you know right off the top of your head the crusade I'm referring to, please make it known. There is in lore, there is a historically canon crusade that was surely Templars, or both versions, the Black and Red Templars and the Battle Sisters, that basically were on crusade specifically after, I want to say it was a army of Emperor's Children, that they pretty much chased that entire army throughout the whole fucking galaxy. Pretty much, Zoe, pretty much. So we recently are you referring to your Death Watch or your Black Templars? And Maggie, I know we're hitting you with a lot of terms here, so just not yet. Not yet, Maggie. I feel like that is coming in the next Lumineth rulebook. Which, that being said, before we go too much further, the elves of Age of Sigmar had a major schism, and basically your wild elves and your more civilized elves ended up splitting. The wild elves going into a faction known as the Sylvaneth, and the more city elves going into one known as the Lumineth. Oh yeah, Crimson Fist. Yes. I didn't know if you were playing your Death Watch. If you've been working on your Death Watch lately, which Magi, regarding Death Watch, Death Watch is literally Space Marine All Stars. It's obviously more complicated than that, but for all intent and purpose, the Death Watch is Space Marine, is Super Smash Brother, Space Marines, Space Marine All Stars. All skulls look nice on the throne. We know this. We've been over this. Meanwhile, we still need a name for this sister right here. And Sister Bertha Better Than You is not going to work for tonight, so nobody try that. Or any, variation thereof. I wouldn't call it permanent king, because there are Marines that come back from the Death Watch. It's rare, but it happens. Yeah, pretty much. If you want to play, if you want to play an army that makes the best out of, all of the Space Marine chapters, Death Watch is the way to go. And the other thing with Death Watch is if a Death Watch unit gets called in, shit has hit the fan. And it's spreading rapidly out of control. You're out on loan to Death Watch because you've killed enough of the Xenos that the knowledge needs to be shared with everyone. Yes, yes. Case in point, if, say, someone stumbles on a Space Hulk overrun with gene stealers, and you don't have time to deal with it, you're in the middle of something else, you call in the Death Watch. That's what they're for, is they are literally their Suicide Squad. And they're really fucking good at being Suicide Squad. I mean, they handle stuff other than Tyranids, but that's just an example of something that they would handle. Yeah, all Marines deal with Tyranids. I mean, it's matter of fact, it's the Space Hulk tabletop game, the board game, is literally Blood Angels. Tyranids killed Orcs, Kings killed Eldar, and Greys killed Necrons. Exactly, there you go. That's the whole point of Death Watch right there, Soy. All these damn bots tonight, Jesus. You guys on affiliate, do you have to deal with bots like that all the time? That's annoying as shit. Like I said, there's a reason I have mods. Yeah, but yes, name. She needs a name. We need to give her an Imperial birth certificate. Damn, that's annoying. I'm gonna have to look into that, Mallow. Appreciate it. Because at this point, I've had this many bots, and I'm not in. I haven't hit a field yet. I'm terrified of what I'll get when I do. All right, so any ideas on what we're gonna call our sister here? So far on stream, we've named Margaret or Margaret, which I think let's go with Margaret. That sounds a little more, sounds a little more 40k-ish. Claire, we've named Sister Superior Margaret and Sister Claire Marie. What are we gonna name our good Ignacy? Sister Ignacy. That's a really unique name too. Appreciate that, Mallow. Appreciate it. It's a male name, but Ignis is the female equivalent. I like that. Catalina. I like that one too. I kind of like that too. See, this is why I need fucking affiliates so I can do these polls. There's an old sci-fi story you once read about how some time traveler, the 13th century Poland, saved a baby and called it Ignacy after the priest he met. Huh. This is yeah, true. You know what? I like Catalina. Let's go with that. That's very, very 40K-ish right there. So let's clean her up a little bit. Oh, and by the way, in case you're curious, Soy made streams on here too. Mostly, I know Soy has streamed lately a lot of the samurai game. I can't think of what it's called. Ghost of Tsushima has been one of his regulars lately. That and I know you streamed Ghost. You streamed Cyberpunk when it was out. You've done some I know he's done some Call of Duty. And what's the other one? Mass Effect. He's done quite a bit of Mass Effect too. Oh no, it's a lot to pack in, so Manji, especially for someone who's not familiar, very familiar with the lore. It's a lot. Stream Yakuza, huh? I'm not sure if I'm even familiar with. I mean, I'm familiar with with what the Yakuza series is a thing. I just don't know that I've ever seen it played. Oh, and sorry, I don't know if you heard or not, but I pulled the trigger on the Limoneth. We want to do some, you know what? Yeah, sure. Why not? Let's go for it. You're also going with Power Fist for the list because because the idea of a super pissed off individual punching a tank with his hands sounds hilarious. Yes, it does. I was I was considering whether I wanted to start doing the work on another sister here tonight, because I've got about 20 here, or 15 of them here that is in the list so far. And I'm going to be getting more specifically of these ladies, because there is a list. There is a list in there's a way in the game to run majority these ladies with the halberds and shields. And basically what happens is they end up with a 2+ armor save, which means on a 2 or better on a 6-sided dice, they ignore wounds. I don't know if I'd call Corn Satan, but it's That's debatable. Incredible Hulk, yeah, I would, but it's because let's face it. Since you mentioned that, there's really no such thing as a good guy in 40K. But I don't know that I'd call Korn Satan, because let's face it, all four of the Chaos Gods all have some. They all have some semblances of the demons that we know. Korn is the god of blood. It's yeah, that's true. Everyone is a good guy in their own point of view. That's very very lawful evil of you, Herb. Soy. Not wrong, but very lawful evil. Alright. So where would we like to start on her? Alright, I think we'll start with... let's start with the red, since that's going to be the biggest part of the... it's going to be the biggest part of the model for her. Or the biggest part of what she's wearing. We'll work with the red. There you go, that's great. Thanks, Soy. I was trying to remember them all, it's been a minute. Slanesh is the god of sex. Let's just be honest. Zinch is Loki. Let's be fair. And as far as my favorite one of those, I don't necessarily have one, but as far as playing on the other side of the table, Death Guard has really been my favorite Chaos Army to play against, and that's Nurgle. Honestly, King, I was trying to make conversation so that the algorithm would like it. Yeah, Morty Munchkins. Yep. And like I said, and the probably the thing I like about playing against Death Guard is Death Guard has this really cool, not even like their basic troop units, but they have some really cool mobility models, which is like I think they're called like bloke drones or something like that.
that they're just really cool. They have some really cool stats, and they have this mortar cannon thing that is basically on a tank. That's called the plague burst cannon, which it pretty much can hit anything on the table without the need for line of sight. And when it hits like a ton of bricks. And I'm sorry, but it's just a really, really cool model. Death Guard are also god awful hard to kill. Sounds like a soccer with a BFG. Yeah, kinda. You know what? Fuck you, Citadel. Fuck you and your fast drying ass acrylic paint. And yes, so we have all of us here that you and Mallow well know about Papa algorithm, huh? I mean, you guys kind of gotta play in the rules there. You know what? Thanks, King. Thanks, King. I'm never gonna be able to see Mortarian now the same way because of the whole human-sized cockroach comment. I'm gonna have to model some. I'm gonna have to model some Terminators with raid cans now, thanks to you. They probably have, Soy. We just haven't seen any pictures. Plus, with GW being how they are now about conversions. Yeah, King. Good job there, sir. Oh, and back to the excuse me, Mallow. We noticed you started doing really good numbers when your avatar was wearing a bikini, so you have to stop doing that. Pay no attention to the live flesh and blood humans half naked in the hot tub in the stream we're suggesting right under yours. But I know nothing of the algorithm. Yeah, Soy, because that makes too much business sense. That makes way too much business sense for them to do that. And the idea that they would say, well, we don't make any money off of it because you buy it one time and then it's distribution, people will start distributing and we make no money off of it. Well, the book and the novel industry's been dealing with that for millennia now, and they're still around. So I mean, I don't understand it. I really don't. GW is one of those companies that they need to get out of the technological stone age, and that would solve a lot of their issues. And the other thing that would solve a lot of their issues is they need to finally remember that they're not the only game in town anymore. And when they start realizing that there's other companies that do what they do better for less money, they'll be a lot better off company for it. Yeah, sell all the basic fixed pattern and sell the normal convertible models themselves. Exactly, Chuckles in bolt action. Magi, it's not. I don't think it's the execs as so much as it is the fact that they're answering to stockholders, and unfortunately, the problem with stockholders in a gaming company is that the majority, very few of them, are actually gamers. So they don't. All they see is their dividends change. And I think their issue, it stems twofold. One, from the way British copyright law works, and two, because they think that they need to keep their stockholders happy, and they do. But I think that they think that the way to keep their stockholders happy is to keep turning in record profits every quarter. But again, that's, just educated guess based on, my own business education. And some of it is culture. I agree with that, King, because GW has a tendency, they market their models not as models. They have a tendency to market them as collectibles. Because case point, and how I can see that, how I can prove that is if you go right now, you can go on Games Workshop's YouTube page right now and look at their basically their painting tutorials, and you will not hear them, any of the people that are doing the painting on there, you will not hear them refer to the models as models at any point. You won't hear them refer to them as collectibles. You'll hear them refer to them as miniatures. And I don't understand. It's very much, if you're familiar with professional wrestling, it's very much the same way that Vince McMahon refuses to allow the term wrestler or wrestling to be said on air. He uses the term sports entertainment, and it's this mental programming thing that we got to get the executives, we got to get that out of their heads, and I don't know how we're gonna do that. I really don't. Other than keep talking dirty. Absolutely, yeah. But point being said, the only way I think we're going to be able to get that out of the heads of these executives is we're going to have to change the market that they're in. It's, fans are going to have to start voting with their wallet, and when they start seeing dips in their profit margin, they'll figure out why. Case in point, Eldritch Omens is a box set that Games Workshop just dropped a couple of months ago, and that thing just absolutely tanked. And I'm not sure if it's the fact that it's a garbage set for what's in it, but it's just the money. It's you save about $100 buying it that way, but the items that are the units that are in the box are not worth $100. Money wise, MSRP $100, but it's like you're not going to get $100 worth of quality out of the models. Yeah, they do. They do, King. It's almost like GW actually, doesn't. It's like they hate
their customer. And I don't get it. I don't. I mean, it's. I don't understand why you would stab the person that's literally, that's keeping the lights on for you. I don't understand why you would go out of your way to stab them in the back, but they seems like they are. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that, and I know you guys have probably heard me rant about this before, but I still stand by it. A lot of, and probably the number one problem I think Games Workshop needs to deal with first is its ridiculously expensive barrier to entry. Because there's even a one box of miniatures, models, whatever you want to call it, alone is going to run you a minimum $60-$70 US. And that's just the models themselves. That doesn't include tools, that doesn't include paint, doesn't include brushes, files, anything like that. And it's a really overpowering and daunting fact to tell someone when they see these really, really cool models, but they don't, they don't realize, well, you're going to have to assemble these things. Okay, well, that's not unusual. Oh, well, you're going to have to paint these things. Okay, well, I've never had to paint before. I don't know how to paint. It's a major turnoff to a lot of people, and it's almost like GW markets that as basically being, a little snobbish about it. And I wish they would, they would stop basically trying to, be the elitist kid on the block. They would make so much more money if they would stop acting like, like the spoiled rich kids on the playground of miniature war games. Even the measuring tools for battle, not so much anymore, because the measuring tool is a standard, can be a standard tape measure, which I'll get onto that in just a moment. But like I said, the number one thing I think Games Workshop needs to do is realize that they're not the only game in town, and start looking at what some of these other companies are doing and that they're being successful with, and that model is being adopted by the gaming community. Case in point, Weird Miniatures makes a game called Malifaux, and it's another one, just another miniatures war game. And rather than you buy Kodak Army rulebook after Army rulebook after Army rulebook, they literally have a phone, an app that has every rule you're ever going to need on it, and it includes a piece of software to build and calculate your army list. And Games Workshop has tried to do that, mine and extremely unsuccessfully. But even still, to use that app, you still have to have buy physical books and take a code out of the back of the book and put it in the app. And what it does, it doesn't give you like a PDF or something like that. It literally unlocks the app to where you can have access to those units. It's freemiumware, and people, and again, I'll argue this till I'm dead in the face. Freemiumware is the worst thing that technology ever came up with, and I don't know why Games Workshop jumped on it, because it doesn't work. It's a proven fact that freemiumware, you don't get out of it what you put into it. Yeah, it is worse than meta. Because case in point, I can show you on one of the codexes here in just a minute. In the back of a codex is literally, it's a code that you go into the app and you type this code in,
and it gives you access to the units in that rulebook. So even though the app, to download the app, is 100% free, it's useless if you don't buy the rulebook that unlocks the app. I mean, yeah, sure, the basic rules of how to play the game are in there, but it's like none of your army rules are in there, none of the army lists are in there, none of the units are in there. It's a like I said, it's a useless app if you're not putting money into it. And I understand Games Workshop is trying to make money, but at this rate, if that's an issue for you, I don't understand why you didn't make the app. You could have easily made this a subscription-based service and you just pay this flat rate, monthly, yearly, whatever, and you have all the rules that you need. And as often as GW updates rules, puts out new books, so on and so forth, if they just keep it updated in an app, not only will it make your fan base will be a whole lot happier with it, it'll cut down significantly on production costs, because you're not constantly having to pay someone to come in here and print these books and cut these distribution deals, and they're not understanding that. And well, Games Workshop isn't anyway, because there's several other companies out there right now. Hell, even Warlord, who makes Bold Action, amongst other games. Yeah, they still do physical copies of their books as well, but you can, if you go on the Warlord Games website and you look at the rule books for, say, Bold Action, right alongside that physical book is an option for a digital PDF with the same book, has the same information in it, and not only is it the same information, it's physically not as expensive as the print product. Usually it's like $5 to $10 cheaper. And I guess they're doing that to appeal to to both types of gamers, because yeah, there are some old school gamers out there that still want a physical copy of what they have, but I mean, I would say that you can't please everyone, but offering both options probably is the closest that you're ever going to get to it. And I just realized I went on like a 45-minute rant about that. But and I apologize for that, but it's kind of a hot button issue for me, because I love Games Workshop's models, I love their lore, I love their game, but right now I'm not loving where they're at as a business. And I feel like if something isn't, they don't look at this, and they look at this, this as with an open sense, with a sense of of open-mindedness, and they realize, hey, we're basically getting priced out of our own market. We're getting priced out. Not only are we getting priced out, which I'll cover that later, we're getting priced out of our own market. We're pulling the same trick that Radio Shack pulled back in the day, where they refusal to innovate and adapt to a changing environment or a changing market, basically ran them out of business. And I don't want to see that happen to the company. I don't want to see them run out of business. I don't want to see them get bought out by another company and that doesn't know what they're doing. And unfortunately I see that in the very near future being a reality. And you guys that has been my TED Talk for 2022. But pricing, since it was mentioned,
you're gonna hear everyone complain about pricing, but I mean at the same time, it's cost of everything is going up. Cost of groceries, cost of supplies, everything is going up. But the problem, and that's the excuse that a lot of people use, but at this point, it's not an excuse anymore because they claim that the cost of supply is what's forcing them to go up on the cost of their models. But they do this on a regular basis. They have a price increase. And it's almost like it's planned. And we can just about know when the price increase is going to come at this rate. And I would say, yeah, inflation is a thing, but they've had more price increases in the last 5 years than in the history of the company. And I just don't. And at this point, it's literally nothing. It's literally nothing but corporate greed. And this is the same problem they had around like the 2003-2004 era, when the company was, while it was making record profits, it was in the shitter with public opinion. And I don't want to see that. Like I said, I don't want to see the company that makes the games that I love, I don't want to see them go under. It would be the same thing as if Wizards of the Coast suddenly decided that they valued profit more than they value the players of their game. And while they probably do, that's a terrible, shitty outlook to have as a business. You're not going to make profit that way. And again, that's just, I don't want to see it, but I'm really, really concerned that that's where it's going. And you guys can feel free to discuss that later in the chat or however you want to respond to that. But that's just my 2 cents on the matter. It is, King, absolutely. And corporate businesses are notorious for doing it. And I hate it. And see, one of the things that I'll bring this up, is a gentleman by the name of Kevin Roundtree. And I'd have to do the research to see, but when he came on to Games Workshop Limited as their CEO. And he took over the company at a time, like I said, in the early, 2005, 2006-ish. At that point in time, Roundtree came into the company later than that, but we're talking about a company that's, it pretty much in the tank and stagnant. And Roundtree stepped in, and somehow this man, I don't know how this man did it, but he somehow managed to increase profits, satisfy stockholders, and satisfy customers all in one fell swoop in less than 6 months. And I don't know how this god of business pulled this off. And I feel like since in the last few years, he's kind of not been... I feel like he's not been the voice that he was, because they went from that little burst when he took over as CEO. They went through that little renaissance, if you will, of new models were coming out every month. New sets, new models, new equipment, new products, and it died, and it's significantly slowed down. And I'm going to be honest, COVID probably had a lot to do with that. But they've had time to recover, and they're not stepping back up to the production rate that they were, and it doesn't bode well to me. But that's a good point. I need to look and see if Mr. Roundtree is still CEO of GW. Games
Workshop CEO. Yeah. Kevin Roundtree is still CEO. And like I said, you guys, unpack all of that, however you will. But that's just, like I said, that's just my rant for the evening about it. Got deathly quiet in here after I said that. So everybody's still enjoying their tea. But you know what, guys? We got 2 models done tonight. We started on the 3rd. I think, honestly, I think we can start wrapping up tonight, to be fair. Because we actually got quite a bit done. So we've been going for about 3.5 hours. And to be honest, for me, that is this is the longest stream we've ever ran. It's probably the most successful one too. So that being said, guys,